The galaxy had never known such relentless conflict. For centuries, the Xiliens and the Drakari had been locked in a vicious cycle of war, each generation inheriting the bitter feud from the last. The Xiliens, a race of tall, slender beings with shimmering silver skin and advanced technological prowess, had long prided themselves on their strategic brilliance and sophisticated weaponry. Their crystalline cities floated above their planets, testament to their ingenuity and architectural mastery. In stark contrast were the Drakari, fearsome warriors with scales as hard as steel and muscles capable of crushing boulders. They were creatures of brute strength and unyielding resolve, living in massive fortresses carved into the mountains of their home world. The Drakari valued honor and combat above all else, and their society revolved around the principles of war and conquest. The battlefield was the void of space itself, with ships the size of cities clashing in epic dogfights, and soldiers engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat on the surfaces of desolate moons. The war had consumed entire star systems, turning lush planets into barren wastelands. Despite their differences, both the Xiliens and Drakari were equally matched, and neither could gain a decisive upper hand. On the edge of this turmoil lay Earth, a small blue planet that had, until now, been overlooked by both factions. Humanity had developed in isolation, unaware of the interstellar war raging just beyond their solar system. They were a young race, still grappling with their own internal conflicts and technological advancements. Yet Earth had something neither the Xiliens nor the Drakari possessed, an untapped potential for innovation and resilience. The turning point came abruptly. One quiet afternoon, as the people of Earth went about their daily lives, the skies above major cities darkened with the arrival of enormous alien ships. The initial reaction was panic. News broadcasts showed footage of colossal vessels hovering ominously over New York, Beijing, London, and Tokyo. Governments scrambled to respond, and military forces were put on high alert. In the heart of Washington, D.C., the president convened an emergency meeting with top military officials and scientists. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a renowned scientist with expertise in extraterrestrial studies, was among them. She had long warned of the possibility of alien contact, but even she was unprepared for the sheer scale of the invasion. As the alien ships held their position, a message was broadcast in multiple languages from the Xilian flagship. The holographic image of High Commander Zalara appeared, her silver skin glistening and her voice resonating with authority. "People of Earth," she began, "we are the Xiliens. We seek your alliance in a war that threatens the very fabric of our galaxy. Join us, and we will share our knowledge and technology." Simultaneously, a second message from the Drakari warlord Kragar was transmitted. His image was imposing, with dark, scaled skin and a voice that rumbled like thunder. "Humans, you stand at a crossroads. Ally with us, and we will conquer the Xiliens together. Refuse, and your world will be obliterated." The stark choice presented to humanity was clear. Ally with one side and join a war that was not their own, or face potential destruction. The leaders of Earth knew they had to act quickly. Amid the chaos, Dr. Vasquez proposed an alternative path, one that required boldness and a leap of faith. "We must not be drawn into their war," she urged the president. "Instead, we should use this moment to broker peace. If we can convince both sides to negotiate, we might end this conflict once and for all." It was a risky plan, but with few options, the president agreed. Dr. Vasquez was appointed as humanity's envoy, tasked with delivering their message of peace to both the Xiliens and the Drakari. As she prepared to board the Xilian flagship, the weight of the galaxy's fate rested heavily on her shoulders. In the silent tension of the alien ship, Elena was greeted by High Commander Zalara. "You are brave to come here, human," Zalara said, "but bravery alone will not end this war." Elena met her gaze with determination. "We offer more than bravery. We offer a chance for peace. Help us, and we can end this war together." The Xilian commander was taken aback by the human's audacity. Yet there was something in Elena's eyes, a glimmer of hope and an unyielding spirit, that made her pause. Perhaps, just perhaps, there was a way out of the endless cycle of destruction. As the negotiations began, Earth held its breath, praying that their envoy's courage and wisdom would be enough to change the course of history. The day the skies fell was not the beginning of Earth's end, but the dawn of a new era, one where the power of humanity's spirit could shine brightly against the darkness of war. The world watched in collective awe and trepidation as Dr. Elena Vasquez embarked on her unprecedented mission. Humanity's fate hung in the balance, and the tension was palpable. The Zillion flagship was a marvel of alien engineering, its sleek, luminescent design a stark contrast to anything Earth had ever seen. Dr. Vasquez, guided by a pair of Zillion escorts, was led through the ship's winding corridors to the central chamber where High Commander Zilara awaited. The chamber was vast and bathed in a soft, otherworldly light. It was filled with Zillion officials, their silver skin and elegant robes giving them an ethereal appearance. High Commander Zilara stood at the center, her gaze steady and penetrating. Elena took a deep breath, her mind racing with the enormity of her task. "You propose peace, human," Zilara began, her voice echoing through the chamber, "but the Drakari know only war. They will not easily be swayed." Elena nodded, acknowledging the truth of the commander's words. "I understand, Commander, but if we continue down this path, the destruction will be unimaginable. We must at least try to find common ground." Before Zilara could respond, a tremor shook the ship, and alarms blared. The Drakari had arrived. Their warlord, Kragar, had not wasted time. A massive Drakari battleship had positioned itself aggressively near the Zillion flagship, and the tension was immediate. Kragar's image appeared on a large screen, his fierce eyes locking onto Zilara and Elena. "Zillion scum!" he snarled, "and their human puppet. This is a waste of time. We should crush you now and end this charade." Elena stepped forward, her voice firm. "Warlord Kragar, we are here to end the bloodshed, not add to it. Both your people and the Zillions have suffered enough. Let us find a way to coexist." Kragar's eyes narrowed, his expression a mixture of curiosity and contempt. "You speak of peace, human. But what do you know of our pain, our losses?" Elena held his gaze, her voice steady. "I know enough to understand that this war has taken everything from you both, but continuing to fight will only ensure more suffering. Give us a chance to mediate. What do you have to lose?" Kragar's silence was deafening. The Drakari leader, known for his ruthlessness, seemed to waver for a moment. Finally, he grunted. "Very well, human. I will entertain your talks, but know this. If this is a trick, I will destroy your planet first." With a tenuous agreement in place, both factions reluctantly agreed to meet on neutral ground. Earth was chosen as the site for the negotiations, a place where both sides could come together without the immediate threat of violence. Preparations were made swiftly, and soon representatives from both the Zillions and the Drakari arrived on Earth. The world was abuzz with anticipation. Security was tight, and the eyes of every nation were fixed on the negotiation site. Dr. Vasquez and her team had transformed a remote conference center into a secure and neutral meeting place, equipped with advanced communication tools and translators to facilitate the talks. As the representatives gathered, the atmosphere was charged with mistrust. The Zillions, with their calm and calculated demeanor, contrasted sharply with the imposing and battle-scarred Drakari. Elena took center stage, her presence a beacon of hope amidst the uncertainty. "We are here today," she began, "not as enemies, but as beings who seek a future free from the horrors of war. Let us start by acknowledging the pain and losses on both sides. Only then can we begin to heal." For days, the negotiations were grueling. Old grievances were aired and tempers flared. The Drakari's instinct for combat clashed with the Zillions' calculated diplomacy. Yet Elena and her team remained resolute, guiding the talks with patience and empathy. Slowly, the barriers began to crack. One evening, during a particularly heated session, a breakthrough occurred. A young Drakari warrior who had lost his entire family in the war stood up and spoke with raw emotion. "We have known nothing but fighting for as long as I can remember," he said. "But I do not want my children to grow up the same way. We must find another path." His words resonated deeply, and for the first time, both sides truly listened to each other. Stories of loss and longing for peace were shared, creating a fragile but growing sense of empathy. The humans' presence and their unwavering commitment to peace had begun to soften the hearts of the warring factions. By the end of the week, the representatives agreed to a temporary ceasefire. It was a small but significant step towards a lasting resolution. As the alien leaders left the conference room, there was a palpable sense of hope in the air. The journey towards peace was far from over, but for the first time, there was a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. Dr. Vasquez knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but humanity had proven their worth. They had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, peace was possible. The unexpected visitors had not only brought the war to Earth, but also a chance for a new beginning. With the temporary ceasefire in place, the real work of building a lasting peace began. Earth had become a haven for diplomacy, a neutral ground where enemies could talk without fear of immediate reprisal. Dr. Elena Vasquez and her team worked tirelessly to maintain this fragile truce, understanding that one misstep could lead to renewed hostilities. The conference center, now bustling with activity, was a mix of Zillion elegance and Drakari strength. The Zillions had set up sleek holographic displays detailing their technological prowess, while the Drakari had brought artifacts symbolizing their warrior heritage. Despite the differences, both sides showed a willingness to listen and learn. Dr. Vasquez had spent countless hours studying the histories and cultures of the Zillions and Drakari, looking for common ground. She knew that any peace agreement would need to address the deep-seated grievances and fears that had fueled the war for so long. One morning, she gathered her team and laid out a comprehensive plan. "We need to address 3 key areas," she began. "First, we must establish trust through mutual disarmament. Second, we need to create a framework for economic cooperation. And third, we must promote cultural exchange to foster understanding and empathy." Her team nodded in agreement, each member assigned a specific task. Ambassadors and experts from various fields were brought in to support the initiative, including military advisors, economists, and sociologists. Trust through disarmament. The first step was the most daunting: mutual disarmament. Both the Zillions and Drakari had invested heavily in their military arsenals, and convincing them to dismantle their weapons was a monumental challenge. Dr. Vasquez proposed a phased approach, starting with the most destructive weapons and gradually moving to less significant ones. "Trust is built through actions, not words," she explained to the delegates. "By reducing your arsenals, you show a commitment to peace." High Commander Zilara was the first to respond. "We have developed weapons that could annihilate entire star systems. If the Drakari agree, we will begin by decommissioning our orbital bombardment platforms." Warlord Kragar, though skeptical, saw the logic in her words. "The Drakari will match your gesture. We will dismantle our planetary siege cannons." The process was painstakingly monitored by neutral human observers, ensuring transparency. As each weapon was decommissioned, tensions began to ease. The sight of massive weapons being dismantled was a powerful symbol of the commitment to peace. Economic cooperation. The next phase focused on economic cooperation. Both the Zillions and Drakari had economies geared towards war. Transitioning to a peacetime economy required careful planning and substantial investment. Elena proposed the creation of a joint economic council with representatives from both sides. "Trade can be a powerful tool for peace," she explained. "By working together to rebuild and develop, you can create interdependencies that make war less appealing." The council focused on rebuilding war-torn planets, establishing trade routes, and sharing technological advancements. The Zillions offered their expertise in renewable energy and advanced materials, while the Drakari contributed their formidable engineering skills and resource extraction techniques. Projects that once seemed impossible began to take shape. Zillion architects and Drakari engineers collaborated to rebuild destroyed cities, creating structures that blended their distinct styles. The economic benefits of cooperation soon became apparent, and both sides started to see the advantages of peace. Cultural exchange. The final phase was perhaps the most ambitious, promoting cultural exchange. Dr. Vasquez believed that understanding each other's cultures was essential for lasting peace. She proposed exchange programs, joint educational initiatives, and cultural festivals where Zillions and Drakari could share their traditions and learn from each other. True peace comes from understanding and respect, she said. By learning about each other, you can build bridges that will withstand the test of time. Schools were established where Zillion and Drakari children could learn side by side, taught by teachers from both species. Cultural festivals showcased Drakari martial arts and Zillion art, music and dance, celebrating the richness of their histories and traditions. One of the most significant events was a joint archaeological expedition to a planet believed to hold ancient artifacts from both civilizations. The discovery of a shared heritage helped to further break down barriers, showing that the Zillions and Drakari were not so different after all. The turning point. As the months passed, the efforts began to bear fruit. The ceasefire held, and incidents of violence became increasingly rare. The success of the disarmament process and the economic cooperation fostered a new sense of optimism. Cultural exchanges created bonds of friendship and understanding that transcended old hatreds. In a historic ceremony, the Zillion and Drakari leaders stood side by side with Dr. Vasquez, signing the Earth Accords, a comprehensive peace treaty that addressed the root causes of the war and set the framework for a lasting peace. High Commander Zalara spoke first, her voice filled with hope. Today, we turn the page on a dark chapter of our history. Let this be the beginning of a new era of cooperation and peace. Warlord Kragar followed, his tone solemn yet hopeful. We honor our fallen by ensuring their sacrifices were not in vain. Together, we will build a future where our children can thrive in peace. The treaty was met with celebrations across the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, there was a genuine hope for a brighter future. Dr. Elena Vasquez had not only saved Earth from the ravages of war, but had also given the galaxy a precious gift, the possibility of peace. As she looked out at the assembled delegates, Elena knew that the journey was far from over. There would be challenges ahead, and the wounds of the past would take time to heal. But for now, humanity had shown that even in the darkest of times, there is always a path to the light. The signing of the Earth Accords marked a monumental achievement, but it was only the beginning. The peace process required continuous effort and vigilance to ensure that the fragile truce would evolve into a lasting harmony. Dr. Elena Vasquez and her team remained at the forefront, guiding the Zillions and Drakari through the delicate transition from war to peace. As the joint economic projects progressed, the tangible benefits of cooperation became increasingly evident. Reconstructed cities flourished with new infrastructure, combining the sleek Zillion technology with the robust Drakari engineering. Trade routes brought prosperity, and joint ventures in research and development led to groundbreaking innovations in medicine, energy, and communication. However, not everyone was ready to embrace this new era. Factions within both the Zillion and Drakari populations resisted the changes, clinging to old prejudices and grievances. Isolated acts of sabotage and violence threatened to undermine the hard-won peace. It became clear that maintaining peace required addressing the fears and anger still lingering in the hearts of many. Dr. Vasquez knew that to truly secure a lasting peace, the underlying emotional wounds had to be healed. She proposed a series of truth and reconciliation commissions where individuals from both sides could share their stories, confront their pain, and seek forgiveness. These sessions were held in various locations, from grand halls to intimate community centers, and were broadcast across the galaxy. Truth and reconciliation. The truth and reconciliation sessions were powerful and heart-wrenching. Survivors of devastating battles, families who had lost loved ones, and veterans who had fought for centuries came forward to share their experiences. The raw emotions and personal stories broke down the barriers of mistrust and hatred, revealing a shared humanity that transcended species. One particularly moving session featured a Drakari warrior named Tharek and a Zillion engineer named Liara. Tharek had lost his entire unit in a brutal ambush, while Liara's family had perished in a retaliatory strike. As they stood before each other, their pain was palpable. But instead of anger, there was a profound moment of understanding. "I fought because I believed it was the only way to protect my people," Tharek said, his voice heavy with emotion. but now I see the faces of those we've hurt, and I question everything." Liara nodded, tears in her eyes. "I used to dream of revenge, but now I just want the killing to stop. We can't change the past, but we can choose to build a better future." Their exchange resonated deeply with viewers across the galaxy, fostering a wave of empathy and reconciliation. The Truth and Reconciliation Commissions became a cornerstone of the peace process, helping to heal the deep emotional scars left by centuries of war, building a united future. As trust grew, so did the willingness to collaborate on more ambitious projects. The Joint Economic Council, initially focused on rebuilding, expanded its scope to include exploration and colonization of new worlds. Xilian and Drakari scientists worked side by side with human experts, developing technologies that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. One of the most significant projects was the establishment of a new interstellar hub, a space station named Unity, located in a strategically neutral sector of the galaxy. Unity was designed to be a beacon of cooperation and innovation, hosting research facilities, diplomatic missions, and cultural exchange programs. The opening ceremony of Unity was a historic event attended by leaders and citizens from across the galaxy. High Commander Zilara and Warlord Kragar stood together with Dr. Elena Vasquez, symbolizing the unity and hope that had emerged from the ashes of war. "Unity represents more than just a space station," Zilara proclaimed. "It is a testament to what we can achieve when we choose collaboration over conflict." Kragar added, "We honor the past by forging a new path, one where our strengths are combined for the greater good." Dr. Vasquez, the visionary who had guided them to this point, spoke last. "Today we celebrate not just the end of war, but the beginning of a new era, an era where we learn from each other, grow together, and reach for the stars united." The celebration was a joyous occasion filled with music, dance, and shared traditions from all three species. It was a vivid demonstration of the rich tapestry of cultures and the potential for a harmonious future. The challenge of sustaining peace. Despite the progress, challenges remained. Radical factions continued to oppose the peace, and sporadic acts of terrorism threatened to destabilize the fragile unity. The newly formed Galactic Council, comprising representatives from the Xilians, Drakari, and humans, worked tirelessly to address these threats and maintain the momentum of reconciliation. Dr. Vasquez and her team focused on grassroots initiatives, empowering local communities to take an active role in the peace process. Education programs were implemented to teach the next generation about the horrors of war and the value of peace. Community leaders were trained in conflict resolution and mediation, ensuring that the principles of the Earth Accords were upheld at every level of society. In one such program, a young Drakari named Zara and a Xilian named Karl became unlikely friends. Through their shared experiences and mutual support, they became symbols of the new generation, embodying the hope and potential of a united galaxy. Their story, broadcast widely, inspired countless others to embrace the spirit of unity and cooperation. The dawn of a new era years passed, and the galaxy began to heal. The memory of the war lingered, but it was now overshadowed by the achievements of peace. The Xilians, Drakari, and humans had transformed from bitter enemies to partners in progress, working together to explore new frontiers and unlock the mysteries of the universe. Dr. Elena Vasquez, once a lone voice advocating for peace, had become a revered figure, her legacy etched into the history of the galaxy. As she looked out at the stars from the observation deck of Unity, she reflected on the journey that had brought them here. "We've come so far," she thought, "but there's still so much to do. Peace is not a destination, but a journey, and as long as we walk this path together, there is nothing we cannot achieve." The day humans joined the war, it was over in hours. But the true victory was in the days, months, and years that followed, as they built a future where peace and unity were not just dreams, but a reality. The galaxy had entered a new dawn, and under the guiding light of cooperation and understanding, it shone brighter than ever before. The transformation of the galaxy was nothing short of miraculous. As the years passed, the efforts of Dr. Elena Vasquez and her team bore fruit in ways that few had imagined possible. The Zillions, Drakari, and humans had forged an alliance built on trust, mutual respect, and shared goals. The horrors of the war became a distant memory, overshadowed by the achievements of peace and unity. The Galactic Council. The Galactic Council, established to govern and oversee the new alliance, had become a model of effective representative governance. Comprising delegates from the Zillions, Drakari, and humans, the Council worked tirelessly to ensure that the principles of the Earth Accords were upheld. They tackled issues ranging from resource allocation to interstellar trade, always striving to maintain the delicate balance that had been achieved. One of the Council's most significant accomplishments was the creation of the Galactic Charter, a comprehensive document outlining the rights and responsibilities of all member species. It enshrined principles of equality, justice, and cooperation, providing a framework for peaceful coexistence. The charter was signed in a grand ceremony on unity, symbolizing the commitment of all three species to a shared future, scientific and cultural renaissance. The newfound peace ushered in an era of unprecedented scientific and cultural renaissance. Freed from the constraints of war, the brightest minds from the Zillions, Drakari, and humans collaborated on groundbreaking projects. Together, they made remarkable advancements in fields such as medicine, space exploration, and artificial intelligence. One of the most ambitious projects was the Interstellar Research Initiative, IRI, a joint endeavor to explore the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Teams of scientists and explorers from all three species embarked on missions to discover new worlds, study cosmic phenomena, and seek out other intelligent life forms. The IRI's flagship vessel, the Horizon, became a symbol of their shared quest for knowledge. Cultural exchanges flourished as well. Art, music, literature, and philosophy from the Zillions, Drakari, and humans were celebrated and integrated, creating a rich tapestry of galactic culture. Festivals and exhibitions were held regularly on Unity and other key locations, fostering a deeper understanding and appreciation of each other's heritage. Education and the next generation. A cornerstone of the new era was the focus on education. The leaders recognized that sustaining peace required instilling its values in the next generation. Schools and universities across the galaxy adopted curricula that emphasized empathy, cooperation, and conflict resolution. Students learned about the history of the war, the sacrifices made for peace, and the importance of unity. Programs like the Galactic Youth Exchange allowed young people to live and study on different planets, immersing themselves in diverse cultures and forming lifelong bonds. These experiences broadened their horizons and prepared them to be the future leaders of the galaxy. Zara and Carol, the young Drakari and Zillion whose friendship had inspired so many, played a pivotal role in these educational initiatives. They traveled extensively, sharing their story and encouraging others to embrace the spirit of unity. Their efforts helped to shape a generation that viewed diversity as a strength and collaboration as the path to progress. Challenges and triumphs. While the progress was remarkable, the path to lasting peace was not without its challenges. Radical factions still existed, clinging to old hatreds and seeking to disrupt the harmony. The Galactic Council had to remain vigilant, addressing these threats with both firmness and compassion. One of the most significant challenges came in the form of a resurgence of separatist movements on a distant Drakari colony. These groups, dissatisfied with the new order, sought to secede and reignite conflict. The Council, led by Dr. Elena Vasquez, responded with a combination of diplomatic outreach and strategic enforcement. Elena herself traveled to the colony, meeting with the leaders of the separatist movement. Through patient dialogue and a willingness to listen, she managed to address many of their concerns and integrate their perspectives into the broader galactic framework. It was a testament to the power of diplomacy and the enduring strength of the peace they had built. Legacy of Dr. Elena Vasquez. Dr. Elena Vasquez's legacy was profound and enduring. Her vision, leadership, and unwavering commitment to peace had transformed the galaxy. As she grew older, she continued to serve as an advisor to the Galactic Council, her wisdom and experience invaluable in navigating the complexities of interstellar governance. Upon her retirement, a grand celebration was held on Unity, attended by leaders and citizens from across the galaxy. In her farewell speech, Elena reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. "We have achieved what many thought impossible," she said, "but our work is never done. Peace is a living thing, nurtured by every act of kindness, every moment of understanding, and every effort to build bridges instead of walls. As long as we remember this, the future of our galaxy will be bright." A brighter future. The galaxy had indeed entered a new dawn, one defined by hope, collaboration, and endless possibilities. The unity forged in the aftermath of war had given rise to a civilization that valued peace above all else. The Xelians, Drakari, and humans had not only survived but thrived, building a future where their differences were celebrated and their shared dreams realized. As new stars were explored and new worlds discovered, the legacy of Dr. Elena Vasquez and the Earth Accords continued to inspire. The galaxy had been transformed, not by force, but by the indomitable spirit of those who believed in the power of peace. And so, the story of a galaxy that had once been torn apart by war became a testament to the strength of unity and the enduring hope for a brighter future. The dawn had come, and under its light, the galaxy flourished in ways that once seemed impossible.